I do not trust human beings. People do not do, absolutely not. And there in family, you were given the example of family, and I get that. Family has shown patterns. If you know certain family members, you know the family members you can trust, and you know the ones that you can't fuck with. So yeah,
Of
you using
course.
your family, that sounds great because you
No,
know
I
their
gave a
patterns.
lot
You
of
know
other
that they are
examples is now
trustworthy
outside
people.
of family. I gave a lot of other, I just gave a school
You're
example.
talking about school and stuff, and I'm telling you, for
Is
me,
your
that's
child
not
going to
my
go to a
experience. For me,
homeschool
I'm not
college or
trusting.
university as well? They can get bullied. They can be hurt. They could be beat up. They could
At
be
that point,
discriminated
here,
against in
at that
college or university. You're not going to always in their entire life have to be able to protect them. You're going to have to free them, whether they get married, whether they go in a career, where they go in the military, whatever they're going to do. You're going to, at that point, you're then going to have to trust your child to have good judgment, to not trust like you, not blindly trust, but they're going to have to live their life.
Ladies, do not trust no stranger on the subway. You're a woman.
absolutely
Don't.
not.
Okay.
So
But really, what we're talking about more so is blind trust versus confidence and reliability. All right. So I do not advise anyone, especially a woman, to blindly trust anyone. So if you ask me, and I've said this, I'm the eldest in my family. So I've learned a lot of life lessons. I was pulled in the kitchen a lot for special talks and all of this stuff. And one of the things I was told is you do not trust anyone blindly. My own parents told me this. All right. My wife can trust that I'm reliable because I pick the kids up at the same time. I take them to school at the same time every day and I pick them up. She can trust that she won't get a call saying your husband forgot to pick the kids up today because I've proven myself reliable in that sense. What you should trust is that nature always takes course 100% of the time. I trust nature. Even if you got with a man that cheated on the last three girls he was with and you took him from the last woman, you should trust that he's going to cheat on you. When it happens to you, don't get upset. Don't do any. You should, instead of trusting him, you should have trusted his nature. Should have trusted his history, right? Do not put your trust in people. Put your trust in nature. That behaviors are going to take their course, right? So that is how you do that. Like even the people that do wrong to me, people always say, "Do you have a bad reaction to anything?" And I say, "No." Only time somebody can get one over on me to where I'm upset is when I blindly trusted them. And that hasn't happened to me in a very long time. I blindly trust no one. If someone steals money from me, right, and it's a relative that usually steals, that's known for stealing, I'm going to blame myself for putting that money out to be stolen because I trust that they're a thief. I don't trust them. I trust that they're a thief. You understand that, like, that dichotomy we have there with trust where people think blindly trusting someone. I feel like not to make this men versus women. I feel like women are more inclined to do that, especially with men that they care about, right? Oh, I trust him. Like when I hear that, I'm like, oh, damn.
so I'm not sure where I said that, because that seems to be like the impression that what I was talking about was giving. I never said anything about like full on 100% blind trust. What I said was there's a minimum amount of trust that people who enter my life get, and as you prove yourself, as that relationship continues to become fostered, that trust grows. So I don't know where blind trust came into the
So I
conversation.
think that I need an explanation on when you say a certain amount of trust. What is that based upon? How do you describe it?
Common decency,
Hmm.
respect for just being another human being, like literally like the bare minimum, right? Like trust that I can stand next to you and you're just
Hmm.
not gonna, physically assault me, right? Like literally the bare minimum. And if we're honest, that's still trust. Because if not, there are people who don't leave their homes. Social anxiety is a thing, right? Like there's still a bare minimum trust. And as we talk, as we foster that relationship, that starts to grow, right? I think this idea that from the moment we make eye contact, that like now it is a race, that like you need to prove yourself to be trustworthy or untrustworthy, I think seems a little bit disingenuous, because how do you build trust if there is not a basic level of trust?
Right. And you know what? In regards to build a relationship with anyone, even friends, you have to trust
Hmm.
somebody to be their friend. You have to be like, hey, I want to be your friend because you're a nice person. Like when you're having a conversation, I'm networking with people, right? It's a base level of trust. You have to have it's like base level of respect. There's a base
Yeah.
level,
I think
right?
that all goes with expectation. Like, because the word blind trusting came in, but when I was talking about trust needs to be an element in all facets of our life, I wasn't speaking from blindly trusting anyone or anything at any particular time. I do trust in human nature at all times, right? When I'm dealing with anybody, but I also have a level of expectation that's also going to be set in my relationships with my career and my job. I'm going to trust that certain things could happen, and my expectation is lowered depending on what I'm dealing with and who I'm dealing with. But when it comes to like my parents or my family that I've grown up with all 38 years, there's a level of trust that's there. I mean, is it blindly trusting that my parents have never forsaken me as God has never forsaken me? So I'm not going to blindly trust my parents. No, that wall is down. So
You
in
saw
some
patterns
areas,
in your parents.
All right, so let's
some areas
establish
of your
That's
life,
different.
you're going to
let's establish
That's,
like a.
that's different.
well,
Casey, what you're
everybody's talking
is
about
I was gonna
completely
say
different.
let's establish.
People are
Yeah,
talking
hold on, one
about
at a time.
crime,
Yeah.
people are talking about marriages, people are talking about different things. So what are we talking about? Zero
Yeah, I was
in
gonna say let's
to
establish
make
a
it plain.
baseline.
Oh, no.
What does baseline trust look like? So
So-
let's establish that. Who here has a son? Or
I do.
I meant on the ladies' side. All right, cool. You
I
have
have
a
a
The
son.
ladies did.
Yeah.
All right, so on the
I
ladies'
have
side,
a father, a husband, and 3 brothers and 2 brother-in-laws. I'm surrounded by men.
got you. No, I mean, okay, Curse for Life. You got a son. If your baby's father, right, got a new girlfriend, and or no, that's a bad example. Let's just say someone's son is going out with a new person, and they're like, oh, he can spend the night at such and such house, but it's the first time you're meeting that person. Do you let him stay
Absolutely
there?
not.
No, that's what
Absolutely
we're
not,
talking about.
because
I don't believe this baseline of trust thing that people talk about, because
yeah, no,
I see it.
absolutely.
People contradict that every day with their with their decision making in regards to the thing they care about most. There is
But
no baseline of trust.
Right.
I believe, Inaz, you said it.
But
It is common.
but you take your child to school every day, right? And you're trusting that the teachers are going to give them a certain amount of
Absolutely not.
knowledge
No.
and
Or
experience.
we
But
hope.
also
care and
leave them
how
to go do their job,
We hope you do.
knowing that you may not trust them, but it is a baseline. You have to open up and go through the experience, whether you trust those teachers are providing an adequate, not being discriminating against your child, not abusing your child, not manipulating your child. So you have to go into that with a level of expectation.
Well, yeah. Remember, I was trying to figure out what the baseline was.
But it's never blind trust.
To her,
Go ahead.
Can I respond? Hold on. I don't trust, because guess what? My son has never been to daycare and he's never been to public school. I am homeschooling him because I don't trust people, because I've
So
seen
your
a lot
child
of
don't have to
sketchy
go into
shit.
the world after
I don't do it, and I'm crazy
homeschooling.
to
They don't have
hurt
to enter into the world.
Hold on. That's not what I'm saying. Right now is not the time for it.
How old is your
Is
son?
she still talking? Because I can't. My son is 5.
Okay.
But like I said, I do not trust human beings. People do not. Absolutely not. And in family, you were given the example of family, and I get that. Family has shown patterns. If you know certain family members, you know the family members you can trust, and you know the ones that you can't fuck with. So yeah, you using your family, that sounds great, because you know
I
their
gave
patterns.
a
You
lot
know
of other
that they are
examples is
trustworthy
now outside
people.
of family. I gave a lot of other. I just gave a school example.
You're talking about school and stuff, and I'm telling you, for me,
is your
that's
child
not
gonna
my
go to a
experience. For me,
homeschool
I'm not
college or
trusting.
university as well? They can get bullied. They could be hurt. They could be beat up. They could be discriminated against in college or university. You're not gonna always in their entire life have to be able to protect them. You're going to have to free them, whether they get married, whether they go in a career, where they go in the military, whatever they're going to do. You're going to, at that point, you're then going to have to trust your child to have good judgment, to not trust like you, not blindly trust, but they're going to have to live their life. You have to live your life. None of us are in a bubble. We have to have relationships. We have to have friendships. We have to have careers and jobs. Sometimes we have business partners. Sometimes those business partners can stab you in the back and you lose a lot of money. Sometimes you end up with the right person and make millions of dollars. So we have to find places and areas where the expectation, again, like I just said, the expectation has to be set, and the trust is whatever on that scale. It's never blindly trusting anybody, because like Mike said, it's always going to be human nature as a factor in all realms of our life. Always.
The only thing that you should be trusting in, like Trigger Mike said, is stuff that's naturally comes about in its natural form. Also, things that are automatic. A car, you trust that it's fucking going to get you to point A and point B. But anything that's not automatic, anything that could change based on its own will, you cannot just blindly trust in that. You can hope that these things that the expectations that you have for it fall through or follow through.
Keep using the word
you
blind.
can't trust.
I've never used the word blind at all.
Go ahead, Curtis, because I didn't mean to cut you off.
It was a whole lot going on, but there was no dialogue. I didn't even get you. You're assuming that that's what I'm going to do the rest of my son's life. That's not the case. At a certain age, I will trust that what I instill in him is going to be good enough, and I have to trust that he handles himself properly out there. I'm not trying to shelter him. He's in football. He sees other. It's not like I'm trying to shelter him from the world. But as of right now, no, because they're able to teach about transgender and a whole bunch of other shit that I'm not okay with right now. So maybe later on I will trust my son and what I put in him, but I'm not trusting no goddamn human, no teacher, no nothing, none of that. That's just for me. But
are you sitting at every practice? I say you just said he's in football.
Yes, I am. I sit and watch him practice and I watch his games. Yes, I do.
Are you in the huddle with them? Do you know every word that coach is?
Ernest is right,
though. I'm in the huddle, but I can see. I can see with my eyes. I can see. But
you're in the huddle with them on the sideline, not in the stands with the rest of them.
I didn't say that. You make a lot of assumptions, but are you listening? I'm trying to figure out. I just asked
one at a time, y'all. One at a time, ladies.
I just asked the question.
I just answered your question.
You said
I'm
what?
not in the huddle, but do I sit practice?
So that's what I just said. Yes. You're trusting that. You said you don't trust the coach. You say you don't trust the teacher, but you're trusting that coach to give advice on what's a proper plays, learning football. You're trusting that coach to a certain level. You have a scale. You've trusted that coach. And as soon as you see something that you don't like about that coach, I'm sure you're going to pull that child off that team and put him with another coach that you trust more to lead your child into a proper direction.
But she gave you an example of what schools are doing that made her make a determination on why she didn't trust him.
I would, first of all,
coaches on the football field never gave her any indication or any influence.
Hold on, Casey. Hold on one time.
The coaches on the football field didn't give her any indication or any influence to make a determination that the coaches would be harmful or anything that they would be doing in that sport could be harmful to her child's development. She did give you an example of how the school system could be that way, which in turns, that's the reason why she didn't trust the school. Therefore, she took the kid under her own wing and training and educating her own child.
But Curves, sorry, Bruiser, Curves. So the school that he would have been going to, would they be teaching like sexual exploitation and like, trans, gay, like LGBTQ classes that you know of? That for sure, that's what they're going to teach.
Yes.
So they're going to teach that, and you didn't want to teach it to that school because you said that they're teaching sex ed in the school at an early age at your school that your son was going to go to, right? Like that's why he's not in.
I don't know about that school, but there are states that are allowing kids, and as a kindergarten, which my son is in kindergarten, they are teaching them about LGBT, transgender, all the other stuff, and I just don't trust it. I think the direction things are going right now, so.
Like to Casey's point, it's also seeping into extracurricular activities wherever you see it. Like these coaches are also in schools as well. They don't just teach that one team. they teach other teams as well. So like
So,
what she's trying to say, like you
so
have a
think
little
that
bit of
most-
trust, right? Like you have a
absolutely not.
little bit.
Why in the world would the football coach that's so ridiculous to think? Why would the football coach be talking about sexuality? It's about the damn game. They're teaching them about
It
football.
happens.
They're instructing them.
But there's
And if
sexual
that's the case, then
exploitation
now I have a problem with the
in
coach.
sports. There's
Are y'all
sexual
being
That's
exploitation in sports.
y'all being really hyperbolic right now? I don't know how we went from.
No, I think I'm just saying, like, there has to be a little bit of trust that you gave to someone aside from your family or anybody, a stranger, to take care of your child, for it just to teach them football. To even teach them football,
listen,
you have to
if
give
you
them a little
guys-
bit of trust.
That's all I was saying.
Let's hear me
Trust
out.
is
Hear me out. I
somewhere.
never say anything to any woman, any parent, however you choose to raise your child and whatever you decide to do, that is completely your business. If you want to trust your child with Joe at the store or school, whatever you want to, it's your business. But never tell me what I should trust. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not hearing nothing that you're saying.
never
So what I'm
said
telling you
what
is if
you
that's how
should
y'all
or
decide to
should
raise your
not
kids,
trust.
that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
For the
we're
fifth
gonna go ahead
time.
and we're
I
gonna go ahead
never
and move
said
on.
what you should. I would
We can
never
finish this,
tell
topic,
another
man.
person how to raise their child. All I'm explaining to you is what you're saying. You do have trust in a certain area, and that falls within you allowing your child to be under the guidance of a coach. Period.
Yeah, see, I trust
You
my
can raise and
eyes.
do
I
whatever
trust
you
my
want to do with your
eyes.
child. It's your
I trust my
child.
damn eyes. I trust my
I
eyes.
I trust that
trust
when two
my
women
eyes.
are arguing, somebody want to get the last word, and this will never be finished. So we should move on.
No, I don't have to have the last word
No,
because
I-
All right,
I-
we're gonna go. We're gonna go ahead and
I'm
move
not
on.
trying to tell no
All right,
one how to
we're gonna go ahead
raise
and
their
move on.
I
child.
think we should move on.
There's no
We're gonna go ahead and move on, y'all. I muted y'all so we can go ahead and move on.